Welcome to Respect the Talk with Jerry B.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Respect the Talk, episode 38. Hey, I'm going to give my apologies right now here at Respect the Talk for all our Respect the Talk fans because I got family in town and the studio is not actually just kind of, so you might hear them splashing around or having some fun around here. But either way, folks, we're going to get this show on the road. We got my nephew in the house with us. What's up, James? How you doing? Glad to have you here this afternoon.
Good, sir. I'm good.
Thank you. Hey, folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to get notified whenever we go live or post new content. Follow us on all platforms at Respect the Talk. We will be streaming live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Our producer will be watching the chat on all platforms. So if you have something you want to say or question, drop it in the chat box. We love to hear from you. All right, James, I'm going to send this over to you, man, to see about what's going on here. We're going to start the show with you and let you come up with, what do you think? What's going on out here? What's on your brain today?
All right, sir. Today, I'd love to cover a few subjects. We're going to talk about the Israel bombing of Iran.
Yeah. Huge.
I think that's a good topic to touch on. The new travel ban that this clown has come up with.
What you mean? You can't leave? You can't leave Michigan?
No, it's the Donald J. Trump travel ban.
Yeah.
He's hitting them again. Another wonderful, glorious thing that he's done.
Yeah.
Like you said, gift that keeps giving.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna touch on the Diddy trial. What's going on there? And if we can, let's talk about the ICE protests because lots happened since last week.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's dive right in here, folks, because we're going to not keep you here all day long. The Operation Rising Lion, major overnight preemptive strikes using 200 aircrafts and 100 nuclear military sites across Iran. High-profile casualties, death reported among IRGC leaders. Hussein Salam, Mohammed Bagheri, and notable nuclear scientists has all been killed in this. The strategic rationale, Israel claims this prevent Iran from acquiring a bomb within months, acting without U.S. direct military involvement. Immediate aftermath, Iran's drones, salvo 100 drones, international reactions ranging from calls for restraint to market uncertainty. Oil plus 6 to 7% is going up and is going to go up even more. Diplomatic fallout. U.S. distanced itself with a split political response. Impact on Iran negotiations remain deep. What do you think, James, about what we just talked about here, buddy? Get in this, dive in.
You know, this has been going on for way too long. The Middle East has been a hotbed for war for as long as I've been around.
100 years.
For as long as I can remember.
Million years.
Yeah, and it's sad to say that all these people are losing their lives, and a lot of it boils down to a difference in philosophy and religion.
Right.
You know, and it's sad. It's sad.
And the sad thing is the same God that they fight about. You know, just different names, but same damn God. It's like, come on, guys, really?
Exactly. And it's time for humans to get it together and you know, agree to disagree and just love one another,
right.
Period.
Right. Well, you know, they're fighting over land and where Jesus was born and all this other unnecessary nonsense. And like you said, killing each other over unnecessary nonsense. Here's the thing that gets my goat, though. And I know we don't want to be talking about your yellow friend here, but I got to bring it up because this is the hypocrisy between the people in our United States these days. Had there been a Democratic president in office, the Republicans would be screaming bloody murder saying, all these wars that these Democrats are having going on and blah, blah, blah. There was never no war under Trump. Well, guess what, folks? You got your war under Trump now. Now you figure out how you want to deal with this. You got actually two of them. You got Israel and the Gaza Strip, and now you got Israel and Iran. And there's a lot more going on. Guess what? Under Trump. So now I keep telling people, you sat there and you talked about Biden tripping upstairs. Guess what? Trump tripped upstairs this last week.
Yep.
And then you talked about, well, Trump never had any wars under his watch. Guess what? Trump got wars under his watch now. So be careful what you guys sit there and bitch about Democrats doing, because it comes back to bite you in the you know who.
Yeah. And you know what? I got to point this out. You brought him up first.
Yes, I did.
I was trying to keep my name. I tried to keep his name out of my mouth.
I know, but
you brought him up first. And yes, he's all part of this. All of his promises of whole wars would not have started if he was in office, and he's too strong, and they don't want to deal with that while that was a bunch of baloney.
Yeah, exactly. So, as much as we try not to do that, it is really, really hard. And I try to talk to a lot of people about that. I said, look, I like my show to go in a different direction. We would love our show to go in a different direction. But this guy is the gift that keeps on giving. I'm sure the talk show host at nighttime says the same thing. They like to talk about other stuff too, but this dude just keeps giving us things to talk about. You can't ignore it because it's so massive. It's not like it's something little that, he went to the bathroom and took a pee. It's something major that this guy did or is doing that makes his name stay out there, good, bad, or the ugly. He always is doing something to keep his name out there. Always, always, always. So you can't help but to talk about him.
Exactly. And, like you said, there's so much other stuff out there that I would love to talk about.
Yeah.
It would be great to be able to talk more about your Share the Spare campaign.
Right.
It would be great to talk about some of the other charities out there. It'd be great to talk about some of the good that other people are doing.
Right.
It's just that we can't even say there are more important things out there to talk about because he hits us with 10, 20, 30 different things a week.
Right. Yeah.
And it's constant.
Yeah. It's crazy constant, So hey, look, I'm gonna get you off of the Trump thing then. So I'm gonna let you get away with that because I know I brought it up. It's my fault. Let's talk about something that's a little crazier. Okay, because I know I said I don't want to keep talking about them, but I'm gonna get back to them. I guarantee you sometime today.
Yeah,
but we're gonna talk about the Pulse nightclub, folks. There was a shooting. I can't remember how many years back ago, and it was horrible. But we just reached the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub, and I do remember being there, not there at the club itself, but I think I was in Orlando during a few days after that, me and some friends, and we drove past there, and I tell you, I actually
Pulse nightclub in Orlando. New insight into the.
I actually cried. We're talking about that. That was a video that you're hearing about it, and people are they don't know how to take this. They're having an uproar over how to memorialize this situation because they don't want to find themselves acceptance of the LGBTQ community, which is sad. This is 47 lives that were taken on that day. It was June 12th, 2016 when that happened, folks. And, these are lives that was taken over nonsense. How can you argue of how to memorialize these people that died? These are human beings. I don't care what their position, who they love was. They're human beings. These are God's children. I don't get what's going on in this crazy T-town world that we live in.
It's sad, man, because I'm a firm believer that I don't have to agree with everything that somebody else does.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if you don't want to, if you have a problem with gay people, then just don't be gay.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, let them live their lives. You live yours. If you have a problem with it because of your religious standing, then allow God to deal with it.
Right. It has nothing to do
know,
with you.
That's the choice between them and their God.
Exactly. That's just
You know,
like Iran and Israel and all that. That's the choice between them and their gods. This is the same scenario. It's a choice between them and their gods. They're the ones got to face their maker, not you. You know, just because you don't want to believe what they believe don't make you any better than them. You know, it's just, I don't know. I don't get it, you know.
You know, and okay, it's my turn. Think about it. June 12th or June 12th, 2016. That was what?
9 years
We're
ago.
4 months in.
Yeah.
We're 4 months in to the same administration that we were in then. This is
right now.
the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and the hatred, even if you want to give him credit for no wars, but if you go back and actually look at the documents, there were plenty of wars during that first administration of his.
Exactly. The Republicans just don't want to admit it.
Right. Maybe none that we openly participated in because, you know, here in America, we've always got our hand in the pot somewhere.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
always some kind of backdoor deal that we're doing. You know, I think it was back in the 70s, we got busted supporting Iran and selling Iraq missiles and or vice versa, one or the other. So
the Iran nuclear crisis is what whatever they called it back in the day. Yeah, they were selling nuclear weapons.
We've always got our hand in it. That's part of our global power. But this administration has dealt in hate since the first term.
No, absolutely, yeah.
that was that's his talking point.
Yeah,
hate, and you know that's how he's won both elections, and that's what he and his base live for.
Yeah,
so it's no wonder that happened. You know, that shooting, that was one of his targets.
Yeah.
You know, because if you recall during that first administration, the Asians were targeted, LGBTQ community was targeted.
Yeah.
Of course, immigrants and minorities in general.
Right. So yeah, it's just sad, man. It's just this guy, he pushes hate, but yet they say he's not a racist, you know, and I'm sorry, you know, it's just, you know, it's hard not to say he's not a racist when all he does is push hate. That's just like the Mexicans, you know. Now, wait a minute. I just seen this earlier this week too. Okay. He's going to he's rethinking the Mexican for the farmers and everybody that's working on the farms. It's like, wait a minute. Whoa. How are you going to separate what Mexicans are working on the farms then? You know, so you're going to deport everybody except for the ones working on the farm? Is that what you're saying? That's how stupid this sounds, because what's happening is the farmers are pissed off because they don't have any workers now. Yeah, they are literally pissed off now because they have no workers now to pick their crop. And these Americans, these so-called Americans that, you know, that's what you should do. He should ask all his MAGA supporters, go out there and work on these farms and see how far he gets with that.
Well, you know, everybody is pretty much convinced that what he was talking about when he said black jobs is that was one of those black jobs that we were supposed to just fall back into.
Yeah, let us pick the crops.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just, but you know, him changing his opinion on Mexicans can stay is just more of that whole taco thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep. Okay. Yep. He likes actually hates that. Hey, let's flip this
yeah,
and go on to segment 2 with the fire this time. Protest power and fallout. Trump's travel ban 2.0. Trump reinstates a controversial travel ban blocking entry from 7 countries. Ban targets Iran, Syria, Yemen, Nigeria, Libya, Venezuela, and North Korea. Most are Muslim majority in this national security of racial targeting, political timing, rallying his base during campaign season, which he always does. So, according to NPR, over 60% of these affected by the ban have no criminal history or ties to extremist activities. We've replaced the dog whistle with a bullhorn, said immigration attorney Shana Harari. Suggested questions. Who benefits from this? Is this about protection or projection? We're going to come back to this. No, we're going to talk about this now later. I was thinking about coming back to this later, but we're going to do this right now. Let's talk about this, James. This is something that's really kind of bugging both of us. I think it's really eating at our skin here.
yeah. This guy is a true clown. You know, here we are. We went through this before, and it all boils down to it's black and brown folks that are being targeted.
Right.
You know, black, brown, and yellow. And let me
Yeah. Recorrect that.
them. You know, and all the while we're opening up and giving them the key to the cities, the white South African.
Right.
And you know, there are specifics with them. They have to be white.
Right.
It
Yeah.
is that in their title, white South African. So again, if you have any question or doubt that this man is a racist, a white supremacist, that should
right
answer
there.
it.
That should answer your question. Yeah.
That's
think about
it in the nut.
Think about the first administration, because he wanted to get the Swedes in. You know, and that was one of the big things. Oh, we can get the Swedish to come here over, and it's like, why the Swedish and not anybody else? What is with you and the Swedes? You know, you got a thing for them or something. You know, but why? Because they blue-eyed and white folks with blonde hair.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I made this comparison last week. Who else does that sound like?
Yeah,
it sounds exactly like Hitler.
Yeah,
Germany, 1940.
Yep.
You know, the blonde hair, blue eyed, fair skin.
Yep.
You know, that's what he wants here. That's what he and his base are most concerned about.
Yeah. Yeah, we're about talking about Jews will not replace us. No, they don't want blacks, Jews, Indians, Mexicans, or nobody. They want this country to be all white. You know, and it's unfortunately, hate to tell them, that ain't gonna happen. You know, it's just way too far. But you get this idiot in there that's gonna keep trying. You know, so hey, let's go to break here, because we got some more topics to come back at you folks with. We got to talk about it. We got some other great things going on, so we're just gonna go to break and we'll be right back, folks. So stick around. We will see you in 2 and 2. And folks, we are back here again with you, ready to lock and load here. We got a great show, like I said, on the second half of our show. We're going to deep dive into something else that's been crazy town in the USA today, and that's the Diddy trial. The crack pipe, audio, and Jane Doe testimony. Talking points, here we go. Audio evidence. We're going to do that. I got some talking points here, because I'm going to throw these at James here. Audio evidence. In court, Combs called his ex the crack pipe in a March 2023 voice note. You are the crack pipe. Should I call you CP? Okay, the interpretations and reactions of prosecutors say it illustrates his obsessive manipulating behavior. Defense may argue it's affectionate language. James' testimony highlights recounted physical abuse, forced drug use, hotel nights with escorts, denial of protection. Better not ask for a effing condom. Okay, that's sick. Emotional dependence, despite the violence, carried on nightly sexual sessions use freak offs to maintain control. Okay, the trial dynamics. Jane, here's some dynamics here. Jane's 6-day testimony, Wednesday, Thursday. Cross-examine focus on contradictions in testimony, emotional complexities. Here's a question for you. Does this audio shift the jury's perception? And how does emotional dependency shape such abusive cycles? And just where, does this defense position itself next? Come on, James, come in here and let's talk about this Diddy thing.
You know, it's watching this has been hard because I'm one of those folks that grew up with Diddy and his artists. But at the same time, I feel for anybody who's been abused and mistreated. So I'm watching. I'm trying to keep an open mind, but certain things when you hear them just kind of shake you to the core.
Oh my God, yeah, nasty.
And yeah, you know, and aside from, you know, everything else that's going on, I also know that the abused mindset, you know, their dependency on that person. You know, I know I have witnessed verbal abuse and how guys take advantage of that sort of thing.
I never verbal abused you.
No, come on, man. but how that makes people compliant.
Yeah, no, I know. I get it, bro. I get it.
You know, and it's sad when you hear some of these stories, and they're not all as high profile as this, but they're out there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You know, that was always the pimp prostitute relationship.
Right, exactly. Which has been going on for many, many years because of the pimp prostitute. Exactly. You know, the pimp, I don't know how they gained control of these women and made them do what they did for them. Well, this is, like you said, the same scenario. You know, he just, he has this power and money, and it's a little difference though. This dude got a lot of money, and they holding that, and I think he was holding her career over her head too, in the entertainment industry. And I'm like you. I grew up with Diddy. Don't get me wrong. So I mean, I grew up with Biggie Smalls. I was never a Diddy fan, but I grew up with Diddy. I grew up knowing the artists he had underneath him and loved the artists that were amazing, you know, and made some great music. Him himself, I was never a big fan, but that's just me. You know,
exactly. He was always that background hype man that didn't have to be there. He was just, it was almost like, you know, it was almost like he had to be part of the scene.
Right. He put himself in shit. Yeah, he put himself in videos and everything else so they can make sure they see Diddy. You know, so
yeah.
To make sure his name stay out there. Kind of like somebody else we just talked about.
I'm trying not to. Stop it.
Well, I can't help it if these kind of blend together here. You know, I just can't help it if there's some parallel things going on here that just like, okay, wait a minute, don't that sound like somebody else we just talked about? Keep it in there.
I know it came to me like as soon as those came out my mouth.
Yeah.
I was trying to put them back in because I didn't want to bring them up.
Yeah, because that's what you basically was saying. You know, it's like, oh my God, you got Trump and Epstein, and I mean, yeah. I mean, my God, it's just constant. If it's not one thing, it's another. You know, it's just keep shit going. You got to keep it going and keep it going. I want my name out there. I want my name out there. I want my name, and that's how Diddy was. You know, I mean, R. Kelly wasn't even that bad, but Diddy was. He was just, he had to be in all the. More to the point, if I don't know if you remember this back in the 90s, they were complaining because Diddy always made himself a part of the videos and on everybody's record that he just had to be on there, not that he needed to be, but he had to be. And there was a big thing going on about that back in the 90s, talking about him doing that.
That was one of the things that separated him from everybody else.
Yeah.
Because you would have producers, writers, whatever, that had nothing to do with the videos. You didn't even know that they were involved unless you read the credits of a song.
Right. Yeah.
This dude had to make sure that you knew that he was part of this, that was his artist, that,
Yeah, that's Suge Knight even said that he's all up in the videos. It was one of his things. He's all up in the videos. That was a big complaint about him. Just dude had to stay in the limelight. Again,
and part of shut up.
You know where I was going with that one.
Oh, and that was also part of his charm. Not so much with us, but with artists. That did make him stand out, and that was part of the reason why he was such a high-profile individual, and that was the attraction for a lot of people.
Right,
that they wanted to be part of his entourage. They wanted to be around him.
Yeah,
and, he took advantage of that and took advantage of people.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody I know. And I'm not talking about Trump this time.
Okay.
MC Hammer did the same thing. He brought all his entourage around and wound up going broke. You remember that? He lost his whole damn world because of all these cousins and nephews and nieces and everybody came out of the woodwork in his house and just, Anyway, but all these people, like you said, you're right. All these people wanted to be up in Diddy's world, and people don't understand because I was watching some of the Diddy trial. And then I listen to people outside, not on TV, not the TV personalities, but, the friends and everybody else. And they say, well, why didn't these women leave? And, the thing is, I don't think they really grasp the hold that these people can have on them. And you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the pimps and the prostitutes back in the day. The pimps really didn't have this kind of money, but they had that power. And I'm not talking physical power. It was something they could do to make these women go out there and do what they did and bring that money back to them. They had that's something that could do that. And there's people who are rare like that. And Diddy's one of them, but the thing with Diddy, he also had a ton of money. R. Kelly had the girls do the same thing, it's with the fame and fortune, but they had the money, but the pimps didn't have the money. They had the girls out there bringing them the money. So I don't know how that correlates, but it's a weird thing that they have that magnetism that makes people do things for them like that.
It's something about human nature, man. And for women, what I've noticed is that it all boils down to an emotional tie. For a lot of women, especially if they hadn't had that type of treatment before, that feeling like somebody actually
wants them,
cares about you, wants you, will do anything for you, will be your knight in shiny armor.
Right.
If you can convince a lot of women out there that that's what you are for them, then they will oftentimes sacrifice just about everything.
Well,
and then once you start to take that away, then that's when you can really take advantage and keep in mind, this is an opinion, and I am not trying to give anybody a blueprint on how to go out there and take advantage of women.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I've seen throughout my life.
Right. Well, I've seen it too. There's certain women out there who needs that daddy figure, if you want to use that terminology, uh, I don't know. I mean, because I have so much respect for the woman. Just it blows my mind because it breaks my heart. I hate when people sensationalize women out there and use them to even bring business in. Like Hooters. I never liked Hooters because of what they did for the girls to bring business in. Yeah, was it a gimmick? Yes, a gimmick. It was a good gimmick. But it was a fad. It only lasted so long, which is why their ass is going bankrupt. You can only do that so long. I don't. Like I said, it's just certain things that always bug me about that. I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. Because I have such respect for women. I've always have.
Mm-hmm.
I've always have. So anyway, let's go move on to segment 4 here because we got streets to symptoms. Okay, we're getting ready to get back into your buddy, my friend.
Okay. And I'm
Not it's not so much, but okay, but it is, because we got to figure out, okay, what happens after the protest? Marching matters, but what happens after the signs come down? If we don't turn protests into policy, we'll be right back here next year. The overview: protesters demand uh, about. I'm gonna have to, folks. I mean, I got to talk to my producer because he writes some stuff out here, and it's like, dude, come on, man, write something that we understand because a lot of people ain't gonna know what abolishment is or reform of ICE and immigration enforcement. But the work after the headlines is where real change happens. Now, to my producer, let me tell you, my friend. Yeah, I'm gonna say this right online, dude. Okay, I'm just teasing anyway. But yeah, man, put words on there that people can understand what the hell I'm talking about because I can't be sitting up there talking. These people, what do you say? They got to break out dictionaries and stuff. So cut it out, man. I don't want people to have to bring out dictionaries on our conversations here. But over 260,000 people were detained by ICE in 2024, over half with no criminal record. 65% of formerly incarcerated individuals remain unemployed after 1 year of release. Community notes, folks, we don't want ICE rebranded. We want dignity and due process, said Oakland organizer Maria Esquivel. Call to action supports orgs like Racists, Freedom of Immigrants, and your local reentry programs. Don't just report, reinvest in justice. Closing. Well, I'm not going to close. I want to get my nephew in here because we're going to talk about that because there's a lot of things going on right now, folks, with this protest here in LA. I've gotten into a lot of arguments over Facebook about this. I had somebody call me a liar the other day, just a couple of days ago. I don't know what. Did you see that? Were you on that thread with me? Because I know your mom's was. And
I probably wasn't.
she blasted his ass. But excuse my French. I'm sorry, folks. I didn't mean to say that. But he sat there and called me a liar because I was telling him, dude, I know some people got caught up in there, and he's trying to tell me I don't believe you, and blah blah blah, because they don't want to hear the truth. They're so stuck into their dumb narrative that they just cannot stand to hear the truth. And I said, you know what? I would introduce you to the spouse of that person who got caught up in there. I said, furthermore, you're not even worth my time doing that. And I won't even put him on the spot to have to defend or talk about what he's dealing with because he's a Republican and his wife, who's an immigrant and doesn't have cards or anything. So he's hiding her, and I'm trying to explain that to him, but because I won't bring up any names, he calls me a liar. And I'm like, wow, dude, you call yourself a friend and because I'm a liar and I don't know what I'm talking about and all this other crap. I'm like, dude, I said, I am done. I won't, you one of those people I don't even need to argue with over this, because, so I just deleted him off my Facebook page. It's called Friend No More.
Well, you know what that boils down to? Another one of those human nature things. A lot of times people will judge you through their own habits. So that person is obviously one of those people who will lie and exaggerate.
Yeah, your phone, your mic broke up, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. Um, that's one of those people that will obviously lie and exaggerate in order to prove their point. So he sees what you're doing through his own code of ethics, put it that way.
Right.
And so good riddance.
But you know what? I don't mind that. I mean, I told a lot of people, hey, if I lose friends over this, I lose them. They weren't real friends anyway. My true friends will stick around because, hey, I got my opinion. And that's all this is. Again, folks, this is an opinion show. This is an opinion show. It's my opinion, my nephew's opinion. That's all we're doing is spreading our opinion. And if you want to give us your opinion, we give you all kind of options to come on in and do that. I would love to get a Republican sitting right next to me in the studio and come on board and have this conversation with us. I would love that. That would make my day to do that. And we can have hell, if I can get 2 Republicans on here and have us 2 independents on here, that would be phenomenal. That would be, you talking about a great show. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, they refuse to do that because they don't want to be caught in a bunch of lies like this guy, defending this guy. And I've offered people that, and they come up with that. Oh yeah,
right.
Whatever.
Right. People hate when you come with facts.
Right. They don't want to. Yeah, because they're scared. They can't because they're living in this alternative zone that's called alternative facts. So they make up their own facts to fit their narrative. But in reality, it's not true. That's what you call a lie. Okay. Alternative facts is what you call a lie. Let me clarify that with you folks. So
right. You can have alternative opinions, but
yeah,
facts are
facts. There's no such thing as alternative fact. Facts are facts. So
you can't say that the sky is blue because of the ozone layer and the water and
right, all this other
the ocean, and at the same time say, well, it's blue Kool-Aid up there.
Yeah.
No, they're not alternative facts. That's one is fact, one is your fantasy opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a far. So anyway, so when the cameras leave, who keeps fighting? Well, we got to find a way to keep fighting. We are going to keep fighting right here at Respect the Talk because that's what we do. We're not letting a lot of this stuff go. I will not do that every week. Not saying our show is going to be all about Trump, but it's going to be about or what's going on in the community because we are going to start talking about some great things that's happening out here in the world too. But we are going to constantly bring to you all the stupid things that's going on in the world, to keep you guys apprised of what's happening. Apprised. Look that up, folks. You guys get your dictionary out. Apprised. Okay. Whatever, man.
This bringing him up, and for example, this whole protest thing, I think is important because this is a glimpse into the future if he remains in power.
Right.
These are illegal acts that he's doing. These are illegal things that are taking place. Anti-constitutional, unconstitutional acts that this man is performing. And if we don't, you talk about what happens after the protest signs come down. What needs to happen is that other politicians need to grow a backbone. Yeah. It's been said over and over again that not all Republicans share his thoughts, his direction, but they're afraid of what he can do.
They're scared. Exactly. They are scared, which I thought I'd never see in my life, some grown men being scared of another man, when if they all band together, they can shut him down. I mean, they're so scared. They're so worried about the MAGA supporters. You can shut them down too if you shut him down. I mean, but whatever. We don't have a Congress anymore. Congress has left the building. So
It all goes back to the meme that's going around, the clip from the movie Ants that's that's gotten a new life.
Yeah.
Which is basically the head of the grasshoppers throwing a couple of chestnuts at two of the smaller grasshoppers under his command, and he says, "Does that hurt? Does that hurt?" Well, how about this? And he opens up the floodgates of the acorns and buries his two little peons under him, and says, "It's not about food or being in control. It's about squashing them so that they don't realize that they outnumber us."
Right.
These politicians, especially these Republicans, if they just for a moment decide to cross party lines and say, it's more of us over here with the Republicans that combined with the Democrats, we can get rid of this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
We can end this chapter. We could end this nightmare.
Yeah, you can impeach him and get his ass out of office. Period.
Exactly.
He could be gone. Let the MAGA supporters come at him then, because then there's a couple of different things you can do. You can impeach him, then you can impeach Vance, because you got enough Democrats and Republicans that would do both. Then Mike Johnson would become president, unfortunately. But because he is the Speaker of the House and he is against Trump, now they can control the armed services. So let MAGA supporters come. You got control of the armed services. That's going to kibosh all of that. There's a way out of this. They just won't take it. They just will not take it. And it is stupid as heck. But anyway, hey, guess what? It is that bewitching hour, folks. Time to get out of here at 5 o'clock. Or should I say 4:45, whatever it is, But anyway, this week's reminder, this week reminded us that lines are being drawn in courts and in streets and in song. But whether you're marching, mourning, or just waking up, remember, we are the voice. Respect the talk and move with the people, you guys. Please do so. And my name is Jerry B. This is my nephew, James, in the house. Glad to have you guys here this week. And we will catch you guys again on another session of Respect the Talk. Take care. And don't forget the Share Your Spare event we got going on, okay? Don't forget that, folks. I've been talking about it, and we'll talk about it again next week. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into Respect the Talk with Jerry B.